When will God answer our prayers? If one becomes a real devotee of God and lives his life depending upon Him for everything, and with the firm conviction that He is always there to look after him, God will certainly shower His blessings upon such devotees and protect them. Therefore, transfer all your burdens to His shoulders and make sincere and honest attempts to reach Him by doing Namajapa and Bhajan. He will certainly protect all the members of your family also. One should totally eschew all pride and pomposity and high worldly ambitions and desires. He will then bless the devotee with real devotion, peace, comfort, and contentment. He is always equal, fair, and just to everyone. The most important thing is that we should go on reducing to the minimum extent possible our egoism, this feeling of I, this feeling of me and mine. Everything connected with this body, pride, attachment, arrogance, etc., should totally go. Look, mother will be busy inside the kitchen, but she will always be thinking of her child. Still, she postpones coming and picking up the child till the child bitterly cries for her and her only. Similarly, God will run to His devotee to bless him only when he totally gives up all other attachments and desires and intensely yearns and wails, "O God, O my Guru, You are my sole refuge. I don't want anything else. I want You and You only." In the stories of the Puranas, those are spiritual texts describing God's Leelas or His sports, there will always be details of fights and wars between demons and angels. In all of them, you find that God comes to the rescue of the angels only when they get totally convinced that their only hope and savior is God only, and approach and pray to Him. Let the demons be committing horrible crimes on people on earth. Let them even be harassing angels in heaven. God will be sitting happily in Vaikunta or in Kailas as if He knows nothing. How can He, who is all-knowing and all-powerful, and who has created human beings, demons, and angels, be in ignorance about all these happenings? He knows everything, but still He keeps quiet. When the angels go and wail before Him, only then He wakes up and asks, "What? Who are they that are causing so much misery? Don't worry. I will teach them a lesson." He knows everything. He knows people on earth and angels in heaven are suffering terribly. Still, He says this. What does this mean? It means only this. Till His devotees get convinced that He is their only hope and savior, and go and pray to Him intensely and genuinely, He will not respond. He will be seeing demons causing untold havoc. He will be seeing His devotees, saints, and innocent people on earth suffering. But He waits till they surrender to Him, and then immediately He destroys all the demons. He is all-knowing and all-powerful. He has created everyone. Knowing everything, He waits till people approach Him. Till people realize that they are utterly helpless and cannot do anything without Him, and desire Him and Him only with utmost intensity, He won't act. Till the last moment, angels will not approach Him. They will be fighting using all their ingenuity and strength. Only when everything else fails, and they realize that only God can protect them and none else, they run and pray to Him. He will then destroy the demons and assuage the angels and tells them, "Don't worry, I am always there to protect you." Like this, He creates everyone, makes them fight with one another and suffer horribly, and in the end protects the virtuous and destroys the wicked. Angels also would be having lot of very powerful weapons like serpent missile, moon missile, etc. He would have seen to it that none of them would be of much use when used against the demons. He would have already blessed the demons with boons which protect them from these missiles. That is why these weapons of angels would prove powerless when used against demons. He would make the angels become frustrated and helpless and draws them to himself. You all know Nagamma of our village. One day it appears she went to the Kali temple in her dream. She was resting peacefully there. When she was happily sitting there, a dwarf appeared and began enticing the lady devotee sitting there, offering to take them inside and show them wonderful things. He began to take them inside and molest them and even rape them. Sitting there, Nagamma saw all this and straight went to goddess Kali Devi and asked, "What, mother? How can you tolerate such horrible things happening right in front of you? Can such things happen right in your temple and in your presence? How can I see such things?" It appears immediately she emerged out of the idol with a violent rage and said, "Is it so? Are such things happening right here?" And with her terrific red tongue stretched out in all fury, dashed out to seize the dwarf and punish him. Is it ever possible that goddess Kali Mata does not know what is happening in her temple? It seems as soon as our Nagamma went and complained, she emerged out of the idol and finished him off. In fact, nothing is outrageous, wicked, or evil to her. Ultimately, wicked and evil people should perish, and pious and virtuous persons should prevail and progress towards God without any hindrance. That's all. God himself manifests as Guru and expresses his love to his devotee. The above line appears as the second line in a devotional song composed by Appa with the caption, "Please do bhajan." The thoughts below flowed out of Appa when once he himself explained the meaning of the song. After a devotee knows beyond all doubts that the Lord exists, and afterwards, when the devotee also becomes illumined with the experience that he is not different from the Lord himself, then what the Lord does is, he makes the devotee like himself. Then what does he do? He thinks within himself, "Oh, this devotee now knows me by his own actual experience. He will be the right person to make other devotees know of my existence. Though he will have body, mind, and intelligence, he will not run after bodily and sensual pleasures in the world. He will therefore be the right person to speak and spread the right knowledge about me to other devotees in the world." Thinking like this, he tells the illumined soul that he is sending him back to the world. When God tells this to the devotee feels a little bit surprised and also disappointed because he wanted to remain merged with the Lord and pleads with him saying, "Please, my Lord, why should I go back to the world? I had had enough of it already." God tells him, "Someone must be there to tell them about me with all authority. You are the right person to tell them about my existence and spread my glory. So please go," and sends him back to the world. One who takes birth like this again in the world will not have come to do anything else in the world. What else will be there for him to do here? He talks to those devotees only who are intensely craving for the Lord and Lord only, and who have no desire for anything else in this world. He, as a guru, tells them, "You know the fleeting and empty joys and pleasures of this world, as well as its travails and tribulations. If you continue to hanker after worldly pleasures and prosperity, you will have to return back here again and again. You have already taken many births, and you will have to continue doing this endlessly and undergo the travails and tribulations also repeatedly. So don't trust these pleasures and joys, and try to find comfort in them, because you cannot avoid the consequent travails and tribulations, which are really highly torturing and killing. So beware, believe in God, lead a pious and virtuous life, do devotion to Him through proper spiritual disciplines, and fulfill your life." Saints and Mahatmas would have attained liberation even while living in the world. After dropping their bodies, they need not take birth again, but due to His will and as per His prompting, they take birth again. Do you know why Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Basavanna, and other such Mahatmas took birth? They are all God's representatives. God Himself appeared in those forms. During their lifetimes, they struggled very hard and strained every bit of their nerves and rejuvenated and re-established the Hindu religion that had decayed and deteriorated tremendously. What they could not finish during their lifetime, they continue doing even after leaving their bodies. After they leave their bodies, people think they are no more. It is not like that. They continue to live. Whenever they want, they appear physically before their devotees who would be intensely craving for their vision. They appear in physical bodies exactly as they were when they were living on this earth, as otherwise the devotees would not be able to recognize them. For devotees who firmly believe that they are still living, they will be there eternally. Even an ordinary man has the power to kill himself and make his body disappear and go back to its elements. But God is all-powerful and the Lord of the whole creation. How can there be any difficulty for Him to assume any form and appear before the devotees? Whenever His intimate devotees require His physical presence, He appears before them in the form they desire, tells them what is necessary, and disappears. Devotee: Appa, you are telling that God appears in human form before His devotees to clarify their doubts and tell them the required things. Why does He do this only to His devotees? Why doesn't He do this to bad people also? He can correct them and advise them properly so that they also become good. Why this partiality, Appa? Appa, it is not such an easy job to appear before each and every bad man and make him good. Bad people do not become good just like that. One should first of all get really fed up of all the trials and tribulations one has to face in the world. This does not happen so easily. Unless one gets blow after blow, faces calamity after calamity, totally unexpected and unavoidable, suffers horribly and undergoes untold misery, one does not get really fed up of his life. Only when such things happen, one will feel like freeing himself permanently from the shackle of repeated births and deaths. This too does not happen if he receives blows and faces calamities only in one life. This should happen in many lives continuously. Only then one will get really fed up of this human life and prays to Him earnestly for emancipation. Unless one yearns and wails for Him and Him only continuously, He won't appear before him and grant him liberation. As a matter of fact, bad people suffer most as human beings, but they will never get the ability to think properly in one life. They would have anyway forgotten what they were in their previous life. They would never think what they will be in their next birth. They are certain that their present life alone is real, and they live it according to their whims and fancies only. They never think, even once in their life, that they will have to die sooner or later, and whether there is any possibility of making their present life meaningful. Not only this, they also believe that all their belongings and their kith and kin will all continue to remain the same as they are now. But will things and persons continue to be the same as they are now throughout their lives? Will things and circumstances remain static without changing? No, never. Lots of things will go on happening. Damages and ravages, miseries and hardships, mishaps and accidents, bereavements, partings and separations, all sorts of things go on happening. They wail and cry over every such happening. Suffering and thinking of all such things, and also of all their unfulfilled desires, at last they die. They take birth again to fulfill their unfulfilled desires. Becoming victims of their desires, ambitions, and infatuations, they continue to take birth endlessly. After the physical body is dropped, subtle body remains. One's mind, intelligence, ego, desires, and ambitions, acquired and inherited tendencies from past lives, all these accompany the subtle body. These pull him back to the world repeatedly. His relationships while he was alive, house, properties and possessions, unfinished duties, desires and responsibilities, all such things pull him back to the earth. Mind, ego, and inherited tendencies in the subtle body will be looking for a new physical body eagerly and anxiously. As a result, he gets reborn somewhere. In the new surroundings with new parents and whatnot, he acquires new tendencies. This will make him forget his past, and the inherited tendencies continue to remain latent and dormant. Even if one who was a Brahmin in his previous birth has now taken birth in a slaughterer's house, he will adjust himself to his new surroundings and atmosphere. But his inherited tendencies of his previous birth will make him exhibit some of his Brahminic qualities, like for example, being very clean, pure, religious, tender-hearted, etc. If a man somehow comes to know that he is caught in this whirlpool of birth and death, he will wake up from his slumber and reform his way of living, etc. But he is unaware that he had been here many times before, and that if he continues with his bad ways, he will have to go on suffering the consequences, birth after birth, continuously. So he has no such fear. All his attention is on his present enjoyments, pleasures and luxuries, desires, aspirations and ambitions, wealth and prosperity, pride, vanity, pomp and show and what not. So he should make attempts to rise up from his deep slumber extending over many births. He should try to wake up and think. When I say he should wake up and think, I do not mean he should begin worrying about what was he and where was he in his previous birth. He should think about what he should do to cure himself of this chronic disease of repeated birth and death. First of all, he should convince himself beyond all doubts that there is one God, one supreme power, one eternal truth. If he does this, it means he is already awake. He can now think of doing something to know him and get him. Generally, all people mechanically say that God is there merely because all others are saying that. They worship and do devotion to him also because others are doing that. But how many of them have really convinced themselves beyond all doubts that God is there? If he either sees with his own eyes, or better still, experiences one or two incidents where God's existence clearly manifests itself, then he will definitely become firm in his conviction. If this happens, then he will not depend upon anybody for anything. He will begin saying God is his only refuge. God normally makes his existence known number of times. But even if people see or know about such instances through God or Guru, they wake up only for that moment and become aware of his existence. But they forget it very soon and begin doubting his existence as before. Guru goes on illustrating his existence through many instances and incidents, but they don't get interested in them. Their head is full of their own desires, ambitions, and aspirations. Putting their faith and belief in these fleeting and ephemeral things, they pray to him, saying, "O God, please fulfill this desire of mine. Then I will believe that you really exist." He fulfills their useless and trivial desires also, number of times. Even then, when they don't wake up, he leaves them to themselves and keeps quiet. People in general, and even his devotees, do not know one thing. God goes on helping and fulfilling their desires and ambitions through other human beings. But these people go on saying that this man did it, that man did it, but will never realize or understand that in reality it is God who fulfilled their desires and answered their prayers through those persons. God never directly reveals himself before them for doing their things or helping them. He always helps them through other people or through other means only. He does this on purpose. He will be testing whether his devotees will use their intelligence and power of discretion and understand that it is he who is helping them and not these human forms. He prompts them and makes them do things for his devotees. Otherwise, they would not have bothered to do anything. Though some devotees understand this occasionally, they soon forget it and go back to their old ways of thinking and living. If this continues, when will they really begin approaching him with all seriousness? And when will they get him finally? Does God need publicity? Devotee: Appa, in this world, so many things go on happening in God's name. So many people do so many things, all in his name. The things they do are not really meant for him, nor are they least interested in knowing him or getting him. Again, Appa, in the name of religion and caste, many disturbances and atrocities take place. There will be fights, murders, and assassinations also. They do these things also in the name of God. Very often they claim that they are doing all these things for the sake of God, only to give publicity to him and his glory. Are they right in doing these things, Appa? Does God need such publicity? Appa, these people who do such disturbances, atrocities, violence, destruction, etc., do they do it for the sake of God? No, never. They do it for their own ruination, that's all. Can there be any meaning in such disturbances, fracasses, and brawls? Never. There will not be even an iota of devotion or any such thing there. Why should anyone publicize him? Does he ever need any such publicity? What has he got to do with these wretched human beings' publicity? He is full everywhere. He is all-pervading and all-permeating. Is there an iota of space where he is not there? Does he need any more publicity? After all, what kind of publicity can man do? Whatever he does will all be empty hullabaloo, meaningless noise and commotion. That's all. Will he really get publicized by what man does? It is enough if these people try to know at least something real and substantial about him. Someone pays money to these people and they make empty noise. That's all. He has created all these people and is also protecting them. What has he got to do with these people's publicity? They should always remember him. That's all. Devotee. Appa, some people, whenever anything happens to them, such as if they stumble on the way or even while talking, go on saying Rama, Rama, Krishna, Krishna, Hari, Hari, etc. Do they really remember him by this? Can this be considered his remembrance, Appa? Appa. When they say Rama, Rama, Krishna, Krishna, what is really important is, what is their real intention behind it? Do they really mean it? Some people do remember him to make profit in their businesses, some others do this for their health, etc. But no one can really hoodwink him. He knows whose intention is what when they remember him. After all, if one tries to be clever with him, to be shrewd with him, who has given that intelligence to him really? Even with his puny intellect given by him, if one wants to be clever and shrewd with him, what is it that he does not know or cannot do?